I'm going to be real transparent with you all today. Rachel Baldwin and I spoke a few days ago and I recorded it. She could not be live on this call today, but it doesn't matter. We are all here live and I have a recording of her and I, which is why I'm wearing a different t-shirt in the interview, but she still has great points. So please stick around for this and stick around for the end of the call. Here we go. I am going to play the interview with Rachel Baldwin. Hold on. Coaches, I'm so excited to bring our featured speaker today to you and to this call. She is a 7-star diamond coach, and she's been coaching a little bit over 4 years. Last year, she achieved Elite 2019, and she has also been achieving Success Club 52 months in a row, consecutive 52 months, making her a Success Club All-Star legend. She is from Okemos, Michigan. Ladies and gentlemen, Rachel Baldwin. Hey there.
Hi.
Yay. You're here. Why don't you let the audience know a little bit about yourself, how you became a coach?
Awesome. So I'm super excited to share with you guys. So 4 years ago, a little over 4 years ago, I was that typical gym rat, if you will. I was eating cleanish, working out for about an hour a day. I was student teaching at the time, to be a teacher, obviously, and I was drowning in my chronic fatigue. I would literally wake up in the morning, plan out my day, and plan in when I could take a nap. And I was 22 years old at the time, and I knew that wasn't the way I wanted to live, but I couldn't get on top of it. And my now husband proposed, and I remember being in my mom's kitchen, and I was crying to her saying that I didn't know if I could physically get through my wedding day without being able to take a nap. She saw this as my breaking point and knew that, you know, my insides were not matching my outsides. And so I opened up to my mentor teacher about this about 3 months later. And she started talking to me about 21 Day Fix and Shakeology. She was obviously a coach. And I literally went home, and not to her face, that would have been rude, but I laughed. I thought in-home fitness was a joke. You know, like I was really fit. I was going to the gym for an hour a day, and I just had never seen people have success with in-home workouts. So I thought it was a joke. And she would just talk to me about it a little bit here and there. And then she started talking to me about Extreme, 21 Day Fix Extreme, and I was intrigued by the word because I was obviously extreme, you know. And so I would, behind the scenes, be looking up the ingredients of Shakeology because she told me it was a better deal to bundle them together. And that was really what I was more interested in with Shakeology. And I knew about the 30-day money-back guarantee without her even having to tell me because I fully intended on using it. So once it launched, I purchased a challenge pack, a 21 Day Fix Extreme Challenge Pack. It was a snow day. I remember being so excited to get it and return it, I guess. I was excited, I don't know. But I got my pack, and within a week, my energy levels changed drastically. And I was getting my booty handed to me working out in my parents' living room. I literally couldn't believe it. And that's when everything changed.
And we'll talk about the napping later. Okay, so the topic for today is about how you interest people into coaching. So why don't you talk a little bit about how this topic was important to you?
It was everything. About a year and a half into my business, I remember being at my parents' lake house. I'm with my parents a lot. And I had just put my colicky baby down to sleep. And I was looking at my sponsorship drill down in the back office. And it's very possible I said this out loud because I was postpartum and going a little nuts. But I said it was time to rebuild. I had been previously banking on or dragging coaches who had told me at one time that they wanted to work the business. And maybe their life changed or their actions weren't matching those words anymore. But either way, it wasn't getting me to my goals, and their goals had changed, and that's okay. One of the national wake-up calls had been announced, and one of my friends, and obviously a fellow coach, Jamie Innes, was the speaker on a topic I was so jealous that she was such a rock star at. I texted her to congratulate her and to beg for her help. I felt that I didn't have any leaders to develop. I needed working coaches, or rather those interested in being taught how to become working coaches. But nobody wanted to do that. So I had to figure out how to interest people into getting them into my sneak peeks, and then how to close the deal.
So you mentioned to me there's two kinds of people that you invite to coaching. Talk a little bit about that.
I like to think of recruiting coming from two different buckets. One bucket is absolute gold. This is your current clients and challengers. They've been using the products. They've been seeing results. They have that belief, which is priceless. It's your job to invite them to the coaching opportunity. And it's a really easy way to do that, to get them into a sneak peek or info session, whatever you want to call it. And I like to remind them that info is always free. The other bucket is those that are interested in becoming a coach, or what I call an influencer, from the beginning. This is somebody that's been watching you on social media. They're intrigued by what you're doing, and they're showing an interest in the coaching opportunity. Both buckets are valuable and cannot be forgotten. This bucket is going to come from people watching your stories, liking your posts, from you talking about what we do as coaches every day. And this can totally look different day to day as your actions vary. If you have a team call or you have an event going on, you're just at Summit, that can look different day to day. But basically, I talk about what's on the tracker as a guide. And then when I invite them to coaching with something very simple, like, hey, I've seen you watching. Have you ever thought about doing what I do? They hardly ever ask, well, what do you do? Because they already know, and I bet they have thought about it one way or the other.
That's brilliant. And I was going to ask you about your posts. I mean, it sounds like your posts are different for the different buckets. So people who already know what you're doing, you ask them differently. Like you talk about different things.
Yes. So I keep my posts, especially while I'm running an info session, centered around the things that are important to me as a coach. So my team community, the financial freedom, and the accountability piece, of course, is huge. And then I always give a call to action, a way for them to check out the sneak peek on their own. And if they're liking and or commenting on a post or watching a story about it, I will invite them as well. But here's an example of what I just did. So this is a post that I did once I got my elite recognition. I tell like a funny story about my husband and myself, and then I make it relatable. I have a pregnancy factor in there, and then I close it with the fact that I'm running an info session, and I let them know how they can join to check it out as well.
So that's a post that attracts people who want to know more information about what you're doing.
Absolutely.
Okay, so let's get into the first step about how you invite them and you let them be a part of the controlling what they find out about.
So some things I do in my sneak peeks that make them successful is the first thing is I always send them the link to be able to join themselves. I don't physically add them myself. I let them take that initiative. I also have, once they request to join, I have a question set up in the Facebook group for them to answer that asks, what are they most excited to learn about? This keeps the vibes super positive, but it also gets them engaged in the group from the very beginning and lets me in on where their head's at right from the beginning. And I like to set these small expectations for up front, because then I want them to know that they're in charge of their own journey.
I'm back, and I'm back asking you a question about, so talk about setting the expectations with them.
So I like to, the day before the group officially kicks off, I love to do a live video setting the expectations. I tell them what they can expect from me, and then I like to tell them, this scared me at first, but I like to tell them what I expect from them, that I want to see them participating in the posts and commenting on questions that I ask them in the content that I share within that group. I let them know to reference the agenda so that they can see what I'm going to cover, and again, to comment the few questions that I ask them, like where they're from, a fun fact, etc., so that we can see if we're a good fit for each other, not just one way. I set that stage so it's give and take together. We're collaborating from day one. This makes my groups really fun, and this helps them connect with each other without even meaning to, and it's helping create that team culture before they've even joined my team.
Do you do a lot of videos, or do you try to keep things simple?
I keep my information to an absolute minimum. I don't do a million videos or lives, or I guess those are the same thing, but I like to do just the basics and continue connecting behind the scenes so that they get an overview with my personal touch. And so what I do is I go live with my story. I basically run a one-day group. I go live with my story about how I got started, where I am today, and how I mentor my team. And I like to keep it under 10 minutes. And then I use the absolutely wonderful life-saving video that Brooke Lipoff made, and I call it like the ins and outs of coaching. It covers how we make money, our daily activities, all the things. It's absolutely phenomenal. And it gets them all the information that they need without it being overwhelming.
I was just going to ask if it overwhelms people, because how do you keep people engaged in the sneak peek?
We call the overwhelming the O word on my team, but keeping them engaged keeps them on task within the group so that they can avoid being overwhelmed. And it keeps it fun for me too. First, I like to just accept people at one time within the group. So it's one big like acceptance party, if you will. And then soon after that is when I go live with that expectations video of what they can expect from me and vice versa. The next day is the real meat of the group where I'm sharing those two videos as I explained. But before that first video ever goes live, I private message each of my prospects in the group, either with a voice memo or a quick message, letting them know what they can expect to see from me that day. I like to link the group too, so that they don't, the group doesn't get lost in their lots of groups too. And I encourage them to ask any questions that they may have in that one-on-one conversation. That little personal touch has been game-changing because it allows me to know where their head's at with joining or their hesitations and all that good stuff. I repeat that for the final day before I go live to open registration.
You know, I keep thinking about Super Weekend is coming up this weekend, and I keep thinking about how important it is for that personal touch. So whoever you're inviting to a Super Weekend as a guest to learn more about coaching, then coming back home and finishing the job. You know, finishing is so important, is those holes of questions that they have that you can answer and then give that personal touch of who you are. So that's a great way for you to keep them engaged. Let's talk a little bit about how you create buzz around getting people involved in the sneak peek, about upping your registrations for that.
So when I open registration, it's really just me letting them know how to sign up. It's nothing fancy, but it sounds super exciting within the group. And what I just do is I post my favorite sign-up options with a Google form. Super simple. A little bit later in the day, usually in the evening, I do a post, and it's actually similar to Carl's current promotion for joining a challenge group, with the number of available spots that I'd like to fill. Again, nothing fancy, and it doesn't need to be an outrageous number like 50. I like to keep mine to 5. And I either put confirmed or pending, depending on who's filled out the form and who has finished a share cart. The next day is follow-up day. I follow up with all of my prospects that were in the group. Do not skip this step. I simply ask them what they thought about the group and if they could see themselves doing this too. Oftentimes, they have a completely normal hesitation that we can talk through, and we've been talking behind the scenes, or at least they've heard from me, so that it's not a random follow-up message like, hey, join my team. Like they've seen my communication prior to that. And then we can talk through it. It's also possible that they haven't had a chance to watch the videos just yet, because maybe they have a toddler like me and they were in a mood that day. Again, opening that door for dialogue and making those connections is so important for building trust before day one even starts.
You know what I love what you said is that they may have a normal hesitation. Instead of saying that's an obstacle, which immediately puts you on the defensive and makes you reactive and puts fear in you, you look at it as it's an open dialogue for just answering more questions and validating their feelings and saying, I was there too. So I loved what you said about that. Let's go to social media. So what, as the group is running, you still continue on social media, is that right?
Yes. I like to give, my social media is during an info session, it is about coaching. Especially on my stories. I love to give my followers a little FOMO, or fear of missing out, if you will, as to what I'm doing and covering in that info session. Saying things like, if you've ever wondered about how I did all of this while I worked full time and had a baby, vote on this poll and I can get you added to the group. I do that for every topic that's covered in the sneak peek. So I'm referencing my sneak peek at least 5 times throughout the sneak peek as well as beforehand. A few examples of that, as I mentioned, setting up the group, letting everyone in and letting my followers know that I'm going live in there to set the expectations. I was a teacher, so that's huge for a lot of teachers that follow me. They like to know things, what to expect before they're even in a group like that. I also do another story talking about the fact that I'm going live within that group to tell my story, how I got started, how I built this, and using pockets of time while I was teaching full-time with a baby. And then another story about all the details with coaching, you know, like the nitty-gritty, what we do, how we make an income, all those details that people want to know, and they're important to know. I like to validate their concerns before they commit to this. So I talk about that in my stories. The next day is when I mention opening registration and how excited I am for these new girls joining my mentorship. And then lastly, I talk about how I'm sending invoices, AKA share cards to the people who are joining Team Flex Force, and then sending them their welcome packets, their welcome email. With each of these stories, I think it's crucial to give an opportunity to still join the info session, whether that's by poll, the sticker to drop their email, the swipe up if you have more than 10,000 followers. The more opportunities that you can give, the better.
You mentioned at the beginning of this conversation that you were looking at your sponsorship drill down report and you were like, I need to rebuild. So how often are you in rebuild mode?
Always. We're always, and that's the beautiful part about it. One, it keeps things so fresh and fun on my team. We're always welcoming new people into our family. And then I no longer have the fearful moment of looking at my drill down thinking, what am I going to do? It's always happening. We run regular info sessions or sneak peeks on my team so that we're always in rebuild mode.
So it probably could be called building mode.
Yeah, we could rename it.
Okay, we're at the end of the call, and I usually ask this personal fulfillment question. You know, coaching 4 years, it has brought you some personal rewards. Can you talk a little bit about that?
This is my favorite part of listening to people's national wake-up calls. So today, I'm about a month out from welcoming our second baby into our family, and I get to be fully present at home for my kids and still feel a sense of purpose. And I don't even know how I put that into words. My family now gets the best of me and not the rest of me. I put in hard changes and personal growth to be able to say that I'm physically, financially, and spiritually fulfilled. My life wouldn't look anything like it does without Beachbody. And I know that's kind of cliche, but I think what I'm most proud of is the confidence level that I've grown into for me. It starts with those small baby steps every day, and eventually it piles up. But the biggest thing is even in pregnancy, I do not need daily naps.
Yay! That's awesome to hear. And will you stand up a little bit? Because I didn't believe you were pregnant. I am serious. Oh my gosh, that's so cute. You look fantastic. Great advice. Thank you so much, Rachel. And we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.
All right. Don't go anywhere, people. If you're just joining us, that was an interview with Rachel Baldwin. Thank you so much, Rachel. She did a great job on how she attracts people to coaching. So now I would like to move the call over to our CEO, Carl Deichler. Are you there, Carl? Hey there.
Hi, Sandy. How are you?
I'm doing great. Take it away, Carl.
All right. Well, look, this is a really big week. We are 1 week away from the kickoff of the first wave of Morning Meltdown 100 on the 29th. And I wanted to get on the call today because you and every active coach on your team has 3 promo codes that if they don't use by July 31st, they're going to expire. And Rachel did a terrific job talking about the process, talking about her invite process. But I wanted to come on here and just remind you, you have all the training that you need. You've got the promo codes and they're going to expire. You've got this weekend coming up, our first ever Success Together event, where we don't simply repeat what we announced at Summit. That would be the normal sort of super weekend format. But we're going to showcase what it's like to be a coach and build the team. And think about that for a second. You can have literally the biggest week of growth for your team of all time this week if you're on top of your game. Let me repeat that. You want to earn more? You want to help more? You want to reach more people? This is your week. Everything is lined up. This program, Morning Meltdown 100, is unlike anything you have ever attempted. We've seen outrageous success stories in both physically and emotionally, because it's this collaboration of creative genius that brought this product to the finish line. You take back the morning. That's what your prospects are going to do if they sign up for this program. They literally are going to own their morning again. Remind people that every day they're melting off a layer of fat. Do you know how good that will feel to finish first thing in the morning? They're going to get their commitment up front to stick with it for 100 workouts. And then we add a DJ on set to drive live music that will make you forget that you're working out. You're going to want to show up every single day. Your challengers are going to want to finally show up for themselves. The power that you have is not that you're tapping into some trend that's fleeting, but that you're creating a movement by all of us working together. That's why we're calling this upcoming weekend Succeed Together. Do you understand the power of this? That's why I had to get on this call today, because it's all come together. Movements like this, they don't come around every year, certainly not every month. They come around when you step up and you make things happen. P90x, Insanity, 21-day fix. Do you hear what I'm saying? You are either taking advantage of this massive launch, or you are watching another opportunity run right by you. And I don't think you really totally understand it yet. I mean, we've got over 90,000 people already signed up for Morning Meltdown 100, 3 times the volume that we expected from this product. This is the hottest fitness launch in years from Beachbody, and it's happening in the middle of the summer. I can guarantee you that every BS fitness trend that you read about doesn't have a tenth of that, and we get to take it for granted, but we can't. We have it exclusively at Team Beachbody. This program is so hot that we should be carrying Jericho around on our shoulders, throwing parades. We should put her face on the $100 bill because of Morning Meltdown 100, because of the momentum that she has given this network. We are so lucky to have this program combined with the nutrition plans that really work, 2B Mindset to help people with their emotional eating. If you were at Summit, you saw some amazing success stories. Ultimate Portion Fix on the last day of Summit Autumn, and Michael Neiman went up and showed how people are taking control over food for once in their lives. And of course, we have this powerful superfood shake, Shakeology. It's like we have the ultimate solution to this trend of obesity and low self-esteem, and we're the only ones who have put it all together. We have this. It's like we have the perfect drug and nobody else has figured it out, and it's sitting right in our laps. But here's the thing. Whatever screen or device that you're watching this call on or listening to this podcast, this solution, this absolute gold mine of opportunity goes nowhere unless you use that device to get the word out today. The invitation does not post itself. You have to use that phone to get the word out today, or it's going to pass you by. And without a coach, this program, Morning Meltdown 100, might as well be on YouTube doing nothing, because nobody's going to understand why we believe in it. You believe in it. You are the difference here. It's like a miracle cure growing in some jungle yet to be discovered. But you get the word out. You're the one. It's up to you. Fresh off a summit, armed with promo codes and launch pricing and the belief in these programs from your very own experience. The most enthusiastic force of health and fitness ever assembled. And you refuse to let any objection get in the way of helping a person achieve their goals. That's the way I am for you. We got to be relentless. You will not stop inviting until your group is filled this week, until every promo code has been deployed, until every prospect who you know that they need to start this program next Monday, they buy a challenge pack, because you are a wellness warrior on a mission to wake people up and make sure they know how serious you are about helping them get more out of life. I've seen some coaches argue that they want to meet the customer where they are, sell them bod, and let them maybe get started with just bod and maybe energize before they get the total solution. But don't fall for that. If you watched those Beachbody challengers tell their story at Summit, you and I both know that when you get someone started with the total solution, when they're drinking this shake, when they're watching their portions or getting control of their emotional eating, that's when lives are literally saved. There is no heroism in settling for half the solution. And for all your work, you amazing coach, for all you do, you won't settle for less than greatness this week when it all comes together. You're not going to settle for less than you deserve for helping people get healthy and fit. For anyone who thinks that what I'm saying is too aggressive, feel free to work in another network that offers cheap products, or for retail, second job, you can scan products as they come down that little, what do you call that little thing that moves along, beep, beep. But what we do is influence people to step up for themselves, all the way up, to tap into the total solution. And if it doesn't work for them, they get their money back. That's what we do. I'm giving away, as Sandy mentioned, $1,000 a day. I'm choosing 10 coaches a day who post to Instagram that they signed up someone with a challenge pack. The best value in fitness and nutrition in the entire business is our challenge pack. All you got to do is, I did up an example here, is you post something like this. People are doing lists. Sometimes some of them are just holding up paperwork, but you use the hashtag succeed together. We need to be able to find it with that on Instagram. I called my group here Once and For All. I got Henry, I just got Sally, and also put up there, you is the next one. One promo code left. I've seen coaches doing that. I got one promo code left, or maybe these two bought and they got 3 promo codes left. Whatever they're doing, they're creating urgency. And if somebody says they're going to do it, they have to sign up in the next 24 hours, because you need to use that promo code now. So anyway, that's what I'm looking for, is like your list and the hashtag succeed together so that we can find you. Also hashtag contest. And I'll be announcing the next 10 winners today. That goes through the end of the month. It aligns with your promo codes. So look, today is the start of a very important week for you and your team, not just me. So here's how I want you to approach it, okay? Keep this in mind and stoke your fire, because the average American has over $38,000 in debt. And that doesn't include their mortgage. If you want to change your life, if you want to get out of debt, or you want to get out of that job that you hate, good. You use that and you invite people to your test group, and don't stop inviting until every promo code on your entire team has been used. Are you sick of wishing that you could be in control of your own income and wish you could give yourself a raise every single month based on your own productivity instead of waiting for your boss to give you a raise? Good. Use that and invite people to your groups this week, and refuse to settle for anything less than the total solution that will help them get results. Are you tired of financial issues defining the quality of your relationships? Good. Use that and solve it by taking advantage of the momentum that we've created with the greatest breakthrough in fitness since the color-coded container and digital access. I want you to take control of your life by believing in yourself and doing the work it takes to become a great coach, a great influencer. Next week is no normal super weekend. It's called Succeed Together for a reason. Your job is to bring prospects to that event. You and your team need to bring prospects to those events. I'm going to be in Vegas, in Pittsburgh, in Charleston, and Milwaukee. And while I know our super trainers and our events team and our executives are going to be all across the country, North America and the UK, I want my markets to bring more prospects and to sign up more new coaches at our events in one day than we have ever achieved in the history of the network. I want my markets to index off the charts, but I'm counting on you to get winners to those events. You have the training. You have the Success Club system. You have the products that have worked miracles for people. And now you've got the promo codes that expire July 31st. So I want you to go out there today, this week, right now, and show me that you've been paying attention, that you want more out of this. You're not taking your life for granted, and you are ready to get what you deserve by helping others get what they deserve. Now let's get off this darn call and let's post, invite, show you believe in what we do. Tell your story. You can help tens of thousands of people with your team this week, right now. So Morning Meltdown 100 kicks off next Monday with more people getting healthy and fit than any program in history. I am counting on you to get the word out. But more important, I'm counting on you to step up for your future, your earning potential. That's counting on you. So don't sleepwalk through this. Don't let fear enter the picture. Take this amazing, miraculous opportunity and build those groups. Now it's up to you. I'm going to get to work, and together, right now, let's break the internet and help people. Sandy?
Wow, how do I follow that? Okay, that was your wake-up call, everybody. If you were looking for a sign, that was it. That was your wake-up call. So many affirmations I got out of that call. We have the ultimate solution, but it goes nowhere unless you get the word out, okay? Carl Deichler, that is the affirmation for today. Get after it, everybody. Forget about Summit Hangover. The time is now to attack it. Get your prospects to a super weekend, and we'll see you here next week. Bye-bye, everybody.